Hello. I hope you enjoyed your last free day before the end of the school year yesterday. Your teachers were bombarded with enough new technology tools and ideas to make our heads spin. It really was one of the sessions on flipped classrooms that I attended yesterday that prompted this video. There will be so many of you gone for FFA and various activities in the next couple of weeks that I'll try when I can to provide a video lesson for each day so that if you're absent, you'll have access to all of the information that you missed. And I think for the first couple of days this week, we'll use the video in class as well. I really appreciate your efforts last week with the introduction and conclusion to your birthday research paper. I read all but a handful, and a vast majority of you are off to a really great start. They're really fun papers for me to read because each one is very different. If you were gone last Thursday or Friday, we discussed and we used the self-edit checklist for the introduction and conclusion. So at this point, you should have a messy self-edit of both the introduction and conclusion completed and in your folder, along with the self-edit sheet where you wrote in your varied sentence openers. Today, there are really three things we need to accomplish. First, we're ready to tackle one section of the body of the paper. Remember that we will research headline news of your birth month in 1998 or 1999. So that means we'll look for the most important local and state news, national or U.S. news, and then world news. We'll also research news about the economy and prices, but we're going to start with the easiest of the three sections of the body today. That is the entertainment section. I have decided that since I know that your focus, especially those of you who will be going to prom, will be a lot of places other than the classroom, I think this entertainment section is really the easiest to work on. So on today's homework page, if you scroll down with me and look, I've outlined for you all of the information that you'll need to include in this section of your paper. You'll notice that much of the information that you need you found when you completed your birthday scavenger hunt. So let's take a look at the outline for the entertainment section on the homework page here. And I can maybe make it a little bit bigger so it's a little bit easier for you to see. So my message is that now that your intro and conclusion are complete, it's time to start writing the body section of the paper. We'll assign what will most likely be the easiest section. This portion of your paper should be at least 4 to 7 paragraphs long, but maybe longer. Remember, ideally, a paragraph never has fewer than 3 sentences. So here's the outline we should try to follow. Again, should be several paragraphs. Don't just make lists because you're telling a story. So you're going to share with us the top 3 to 5 movies. Tell us, did any of them win Academy Awards? Were there any stars in it? We're going to talk about what these messages over here about italics and quotation marks. You're going to tell us about the top 3 to 5 TV shows. Why were they so popular? Maybe again if they won any awards. Talk about the top 3 to 5 songs. Provide the singer. Was it a chart topper? Did it win a Grammy Award? Again, use quotation marks for songs. So again, your entertainment section, we looked for this information when we did your scavenger hunt. So on your scavenger hunt, you have top movies, top TV, top songs. You might have to look for a little more background on some of the top movies, shows, and songs to provide a little more information for that section. You'll also include sports news. So again, don't just make lists. You're looking for the biggest 3 to 5 sports stories in the news. If you struggle to find that in your birthday scavenger hunt, we're going to take you to the Sports Illustrated Vault, where you can look at every issue of every Sports Illustrated magazine all the way back to the 50s, page by page. You can page through them online. Also think about kind of in bigger terms if you were born anywhere close to the Olympics or the World Series or the Super Bowl, whatever was closest to your birthday. You could also include for that year who were the NBA champs, the NCAA champs, who won the Masters, who won Wimbledon, whatever was closest to your birthday. Were there any sports scandals at the time? Any um, doping or cheating scandals in sports? So that would be another section. So some people in the past have chosen to divide their entertainment news, a paragraph about movies, a paragraph about TV shows, a paragraph about songs, or putting them all into one. It's kind of up to you. But then you should definitely have one paragraph for sure on sports news. Another paragraph will deal with the fashion trends of that year, 1990, 98, 99. What were the hottest male and female fashion trends in terms of clothing, shoes, jewelry? Were there special necklaces or bracelets? What were special hairstyles? That's pretty easy to find just by Googling. And then also on your scavenger hunt, we did have you look at other fads and trends. You could also include some personal memories in that section. I think at one time I had said that the body section of your paper is all going to be third person, and to leave yourself out of it. But I do think that some of these places, especially when you reminisce maybe about movies or TV shows that your family watched together, or in this section, this other fads and trends, where you might mention the top games, the most famous toys or video games of that year, maybe popular dolls or jewelry might be fashion trends. So that could be a separate paragraph by itself. And then I did include here kind of some optional information. If you read People magazine and there were any big social or entertainment news headlines, were there any stars or musicians in the news in terms of a scandal or something big that happened? Then just a couple reminders here on the homework page. For your social section, remember to start with a topic sentence that introduces this whole section. And then you should also have a transition and a topic sentence to start each paragraph, okay? So remember that our headline news is going to come first in the body. So right after your introduction, at the end of your introduction, you'll have a thesis statement. The first body section that we're not writing first, the first body section will be headline news. So then you'll need to transition into the next section, which will be the entertainment news. So I've provided a few examples on the homework page. Please don't plagiarize them. When people weren't focusing on headline news, they turned their attention to entertainment, sports, and fashion news. And then you might go right into when they turned on the television in 1998 or when they turned on the radio in 1998. You might say, a look at the social scene in 1999 includes entertainment, sports, and fashion news. On the radio that year, music fans tuned in to listen to. Another sample topic sentence: not only did movies, TV shows, and songs create a buzz among their audiences, but sports also got people excited. I've also provided you a few more resources for the social section. Again, your scavenger hunt is going to be helpful, but you'll probably need a little more information than what you included on the scavenger hunt. So there are some more websites here more places you can find information to fill in here. So what I think I'd like to do right now, again, as with the introduction and the conclusion, I won't provide print examples of previous papers because I have had students plagiarize them in the past, but I will read to you some samples of the social sections from a couple of papers from the past few years. Again, please listen carefully and mentally check off what you're hearing as you look at the outline. So we'll bring the outline back here. And as you listen to these samples, see if you can't see what people are covering here in these outlines. So the first one reads, and this is from a student that graduated probably 4 or 5 years ago. In the cold winter of January 1993, my parents were bundled up together with me in our home in Valley Springs, South Dakota. They often watched Murphy Brown, Coach, Northern Exposure, Wings, and The Nanny, all popular shows on TV in 1992 and 1993. And there's an in-text citation in parentheses that reads DeMarie Time Capsule on TV in 1993. On the radio during the week of my birth, the top song was I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. Other top songs of 1993 included Can't Help Falling in Love by UB40, Again and That's the Way Love Goes by Janet Jackson, Informer by Snow, and A Whole New World, Aladdin's Theme by Peebo Bryson and Regina Belle. In-text citation, DeMarie Time Capsule, top songs for 1993. Movie fans flocked to the theaters in 1993 to see popular films including Philadelphia, Mrs. Doubtfire, Jurassic Park, and Schindler's List. The Academy Award winner for Best Picture in 1993. Tom Hanks won the Academy Award for Best Actor for his role in Philadelphia, and Holly Hunter won the Academy Award for Best Actress for her role in The Piano. An in-text citation there simply reads Academy Award winners. Like father, like son, I became a big sports fan. My dad tuned in to watch many sports events in 1993 with me. On my birthday, Reggie Jackson, a 14-time All-Star Major League Baseball player, MLB player, was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. He hit 563 career home runs, putting him 6th on the all-time homer list when inducted. And the in-text citation there, reads Reggie Jackson, Lone Hall of Fame inductee, and that's in parentheses. A week after my birth, doctors announced that Canadian-born American hockey legend Mario Lemieux was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Lemieux said that he was very positive in a press interview and informed his fans that he would be put on a radiation treatment regimen and that he would miss a few months of hockey. After only 2 months of treatment, he was able to return to play for his Pittsburgh Penguins and win the league scoring championship. He was named the 1992-93 league MVP, in parentheses, Terry. That would be an author's last name. Later in the month of January, with an estimated 90.9 million fans watching, the Dallas Cowboys defeated the Buffalo Bills 52-17 in Super Bowl 27. And in parentheses, Super Bowl 27 is the website. Troy Aikman, quarterback of the Cowboys, completed 22 of 30 passes for 4 touchdowns to earn Super Bowl MVP honors. And again, another in-text citation, Super Bowl 27. New paragraph. In 1992 and 93, many new fashion styles provided ways to express one's personality. Larger, looser-fitting pants were more common for men, as was wearing them far below the waist. Birkenstock sandals became popular again with both men and women. In 1993, body piercing of the belly button, nose, lips, and tongue became popular among the younger generation. Action sports clothing became very popular in 1993 when Quicksilver released its girls' line, Roxy. Converse All-Star shoes were a must-have in high schools across the country, and even today, many students wear the iconic shoe. An in-text citation, BBC Cult, 1993. And that is the end of that paragraph. So apparently during that year, I had only required them to cover movies, TV shows, songs, sports, and fashion. That's all that was covered there. Then let's take a look at, one more. And this person's birthday was in August of 1994. And so here's the introduction to the social section. Long before the days of HD TV, Blu-ray, 3D movies, iPods, or Netflix, the teenagers of the 1990s turned to radio, TV, and movie theaters for their entertainment. The most popular song on the radio when I was born was I'll Make Love to You by Boyz II Men. Other songs topping the charts that month included Stay, I Missed You by Lisa Loeb and 9 Stories, I Swear by All for One, Bump and Grind by R. Kelly, and The Power of Love by Celine Dion. In-text citation reads Billboard #1 hits of the 90s. Television programs including The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, The Nanny, The Simpsons, ER, The X-Files, Friends, and Beverly Hills 90210 dominated the airwaves. In-text citation, prime time schedule for 1994, but this one should, in-text citation should say Grosvenor, and that is the site that you looked at when you figured out what networks showed what TV shows. There is an author for that website. Americans flocked to movie theaters in 1994 to see movies such as Forrest Gump, The Little Rascals, Angels in the Outfield, Pulp Fiction, or my personal favorite, The Lion King. In-text citation, 1994 yearly box office results. Here's a transition to sports. In August of 1994, the sports world was transfixed on the Major League Baseball strike that eventually led to the cancellation of the 1994 World Series. On August 12, 1994, the MLB Players Union initiated a 7-month strike that cost players millions of dollars and major league teams nearly $1 billion. And in-text citation there is Polson, in-text citation. And that was that chronology of sports site that a lot of you used. The Sioux Falls Canaries baseball team also broke sports news on the day I was born when a game against the St. Paul Saints descended into violence. After Canaries pitcher Cliff Jones initiated a fight with Saints runner Vince Castaldo on second base during the 6th inning, both teams cleared the benches to throw punches. The Canaries won the game 5-3, but the fight resulted in the ejections of 4 Saints players, 3 Canaries players, and Sioux Falls manager Harry Stavronos. In-text citation there is Alan Spock, and that's the author from the Argus Leader. In other sports news, the U.S. Tennis Open single session experienced record attendance with 23,618 spectators watching matches. In-text citation says sports history, mark the day. If chess is considered a sport, then the chess match between world chess champion Garry Kasparov and the Deep Blue Pentium computer was groundbreaking news. To the world's surprise, Deep Blue, a machine, beat Kasparov after just 25 minutes. In-text citation, time capsule, top news headlines. Next paragraph. Numerous major fashion trends arose during the 1990s, a time when grunge bands Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and Alice in Chains ruled the music scene. This popular grunge music, with low, baggy jeans belted at the waist, influenced teenagers to don sloppy outfits consisting of baggy, faded, and ripped jeans, loose lumberjack or denim shirts, and Doc Marten boots. In-text citation, 90s 411. Cargo pants were all the rage. Girls in the 90s dared to wear short tank tops with low-riding jeans, exposing their midsections. 80s perms were thrown aside in favor of copying Nirvana singer Kurt Cobain's long, straggled hairstyle. Grunge fashion mixed plaids, flannels, browns, greens, and indigos. The sloppier the look, the better. In-text citation there is 90s grunge fashion. And one more paragraph. Children's toys evolved rapidly during the 1990s as electronic games were introduced to the world. Tamagotchi electronic pets, Nintendo Game Boys, Bop-Its, and Sony PlayStations debuted to entertain kids during the decade. Power Rangers, Furby Pets, Pogs, Polly Pockets, and Hot Wheel cars dominated the toy scene. The in-text citation there says Smith and games from the 90s. Elementary school social status was determined by the quality of one's Pokemon cards. Kids snuggled up with their Tickle Me Elmos, punched each other with cushioned soccer boppers, cared for their electronic Tamagotchi pets, and played board games like Hungry Hungry Hippos. In-text citation is toys of the 90s. Slip and slides and super soakers served as an essential part of cooling off and having summertime fun the year I was born. In-text citation, you knew you grew up in the 90s if. And that's the end of that last paragraph. So you can see in that paper, This writer did address other fads and trends in terms of games, toys, video games, dolls, that kind of stuff. Okay, so there are a couple of examples there, and you see that they follow the outline pretty closely. Um, Now, as I said, I think I originally said we needed to accomplish three things today. In these two samples, you heard a lot of song titles, TV show titles, and movie titles. There are special rules for using quotation marks or, or italics for titles. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller here so we can see this again. So after we finish with the video portion of this lesson, we'll discuss and practice rules for using quotation marks and italics so that you use punctuation correctly in your papers. The rules and practice activities and an assignment at Kia are all on the homework page for those of you who are gone. So if you're looking at the homework page here with me, up at the top here, we'll demonstrate correct use of quotes, italics, underlining, and writing. How do you punctuate song titles, which you will use here? Book titles, I have had some students write about what were the #1 best-selling books the year they were born. Movie titles you talk about. So song titles, movie titles, titles of television shows. There is a trick to remembering how to treat titles, and it works well enough that you can commit most types of titles to memory. It's the big and little trick, and as soon as the video is over, we'll look at the website and talk about that big and little trick. I said we needed to talk about three things. I lied. It's four. The kind of the third thing there, or maybe it was more than three. So quotation, we talked about sample papers, the quotation marks and italics. Oh yes, the final thing we need to do today is get started on the works cited page for your research paper, set up in EasyBib. We have used EasyBib many times this year to create works cited pages. So again, remember that when you log into EasyBib, again, you always need to log into EasyBib. We're going to create a new project and name it research paper. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's open up our EasyBib, easybib.com, and we're going to log in. And we should now be able to sign in with Google. If you're logged into your Google account, you should be able to log in with Google. And you know you're ready to start when you see your name or your email address in this upper right-hand corner. We're going to click Create a New Project. We're going to call it Birthday Research Paper. And that's all we need to do. Just click Create. And then when you're ready to start adding sources to your birthday research paper, we're going to click Bibliography. And the vast majority of them are going to be websites. So each of these two sample papers that I just read to you had 11 or 12 sources cited in just the entertainment section. This will definitely be the section of the body of your paper where you will need to cite the most sources. So some people, as they talked about each movie, a lot of people provided more details about some of the movies they mentioned. So each time that you find information in a different place about a movie, you need to cite that source. So again, this will definitely be the section of your paper where you'll need to include the most sources, the most citations. We've talked about in-text citations in the past. Remember that whenever a source provides an author, we cite the author's name in parentheses in the in-text citation. If there's no author, we use the article title in quotation marks in the parentheses. And then if there's no article title, we use the website title. And I do think I have a document that I'll share with you. I'll give you hard copies of this, but this is just kind of a little cheat sheet to keep with you as you're writing your paper with the most commonly used types of sources. So if you do end up using a book for anything, and I will show you this book, it's called excuse me, I hear something in my house. It's called 20th Century Day by Day. Um, so we'll talk about that when we do the headline news. But here would be an example of a website article with an author. So your in-text citation is just going to be the author's last name, so Levy. If your website article has no author, then the first thing you'll default to is the title of the article on that page. So the title of the article might be Life in the 1990s. Then if there's not an article title, then the next thing you default to is the website title. So a website with no article title and no author, you'd cite it by the website title. So you'd have behind the name. That's a website we looked at when we talked about the meaning of your name. You would use that in your in-text citation in parentheses. You use that D. Marie time capsule to fill out some of the information on your birthday scavenger hunt. That is a website. If you remember how it's divided, it kind of has a lot of sections to it. And so you're going to be clear about where on that page you looked. So you'd use the name of the website title, D. Marie Time Capsule, but then you'd also tell us the name of the section where you found the information. And then once we get to using newspapers for the state and local news, the world news, the national news, that 9 times out of 10 will probably have an author. And typically newspapers have a section number. So here's an example of what a newspaper from Newsbank or the Argus Leader would look like. It'd have the author's last name and then the section and page number. If there is no author, we would cite it by the name of the article in quotation marks and the section number. And then we mentioned that for sports stories, if you can't find anything close to your birthday, then going to a full volume of Sports Illustrated would be a great idea. I put a bookmark to the Sports Illustrated vault on the homework page, and I also asked Chris to open that up. So you can go to the edition from the week of and probably the week after your birth, because remember, magazines come out 1 week after an event. But you can go to the vault and you can literally flip page through page of every edition of Sports Illustrated. So if you find a magazine article that has an author, it's going to have a page number. So that's an example of like a Sports Illustrated magazine with an author and a page number, Smith 6. If you're looking at a magazine article that doesn't have an author, it's okay to use a shortened title of the article, The Impact of Global Warming, and a page number. Quite a few students in the past have found articles in PDF form. Typically, those PDFs include page numbers from an actual article. If you end up in the news section eventually using an article in a PDF, that's what this last one refers to. You'd use the author's name and then the page numbers from the actual article. So this document is on the homework page today, and I also have print copies for you so that as you are typing your paper, you can think about, okay, this is a web article, it has an author, or this is a web article, it doesn't have an author, or this is a web article that has a title but not an author. So what's it going to look like when you're doing your in-text citation? Okay, so that's that document. So your EasyBib will be started. It's going to be called your birthday research paper. So for those of you who are absent today watching this video, as soon as we finish this video, we did the EasyBib setup. We may do 1 or 2 additions, some of the most common in-text citations for this entertainment section. Some of those websites we had you work on your scavenger hunt, we'll do a couple of those together so we make sure we get those looking correct in EasyBib. And then we'll also work on the rules for quotation marks and italics. We'll work our way through a couple of assignments there. And then there's an assignment to complete as well. And then let's go back here to the homework page just for one more second before I sign off here. One of the other things we do need to talk about as we begin writing our paper, always we must talk about plagiarism. And when your paper is done, we'll send it through Turnitin.com. We'll also send it through PaperRater so that we get a plagiarism percentage, and that should never be, you should never have, really it should be 0% plagiarized, but it should never be more than 10%. So it's up to you to do a lot of quoting, summarizing, and paraphrasing. And really for this first part of your paper, there should be really no reason whatsoever to quote anything in the entertainment section. I don't think none of the samples that I provided, it wasn't necessary to quote word for word anything from a source. You'll be summarizing the information that you find on websites, summarizing the information that you found through Birthday Scavenger Hunt. So we are going to take some time, if you're gone today and watching this video, we're going to take some time to watch a couple short tutorials on the difference between quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing. The vast majority of this paper will be summarizing. You will look at a news story or you'll look at a website, you'll pull the information that you need, you'll put it in your own words in your paper, and you'll use in-text citations in parentheses to tell where that information came from. We may talk about when you might possibly quote. This is really, though, your birthday paper is really a paper where you are researching history. Typically, quotations are used when you're writing literary papers and want to use a passage from a book for support. So there won't be much quoting in much, if any, use for quotations in your birthday paper. So again, we're going to be taking a look at, again, making sure that we're clear on paraphrasing and summarizing, and making sure we understand what in-text citations look like. So if you are gone today and you have any questions, please stop in and see me during SRB or before school or after school. And we'll sign off now, and the rest of us will work on the rules for quotation marks, italics, and underlining.